Unable to change policy, activists staged a funeral to raise public awareness. It was the same month as the first Stage 1 smog alert in Southern California in 5 years.
I was an EV1 driver, still am, from 1998 until December of this year, when GM will have to pry it out of my Charger's dead cold hands.
What the detractors and the critics of electric vehicles have been saying for years is true. The electric vehicle is not for everybody. Given the limited range, it can only meet the needs of 90% of the population.
People used to ask me, why do you do what you do? And I, especially after I had my son, told them, I figure if I do my job well enough, my son will never know a time before there were electric cars on the road. And he rode in an EV1 on the way over here, and he said, I wish we could keep the EV1 for a long time. And all I could say was, me too.
How does it go without gas and air? How does it go without sparks and explosions? How does it go without gears or transmissions? How does it go, you will ask yourself. And then you will ask, how did we go so long without it? The electric car, it isn't coming. It's here.
What would...
There they are. Wow.
We flew over General Motors, and looking down, we could see right next to the racetrack where the EV1 was first tested, we saw, I don't know, maybe 50 EV1s crushed and put on top of semi-flatbeds right next to the yellow crusher. General Motors is almost finished off. I don't imagine there's very many EV1s left that haven't been crushed down. It's pretty sad.
If you don't do something with that CO2, if you don't sequester it, then it's going to be going up into the atmosphere, and CO2 is a global warming gas.
I believe the problems of global warming will be far greater than the problems of Social Security or even the problems of war on terrorism.
We got the equivalent of a nuclear time bomb on our hand with global warming. If lung disease from air pollution is unimportant, if all those things don't count, we're going to be in bad trouble.
And there's a public health crisis that we have to have incentives and we have to have alternatives.
Car companies experimented with alternatives over the years, but none of them ever seemed to make it out.
Just about the electric car.
I would consider it, but I don't know. I haven't done enough research, and I don't know if they're I don't know if they're big enough, if they're going to be strong and big and dependable.
I have to know where I can go to recharge it, or what do I got to do for the battery.
People don't want a mini tiny car that has 15-inch wheels on there. How is he going to fix that up and go around town and parade it?
They're not making those cars in California anymore?
No, they're not making them anywhere.
That's really too bad. We need those cars.
So why are they getting rid of it?
Well, they said that there's no demand for the car.
Are they insane? That's a no-brainer. Of course there's a demand.
Save gas, save people, save air, save oxygen, save the world. All sounds good to me.
For those who wanted greater range from an EV, 100 miles or more, a better battery already existed, developed by a well-known inventor working in Troy, Michigan, about 30 miles. With over 200 patents to his name, Stan Oshinsky had pioneered a new battery, and GM purchased controlling share of his company.
We were chosen over 60 different big companies like Westinghouse and others who wanted to win the race to make the batteries that would be used in pure electric cars. And we were chosen because we had a battery.
I don't believe that for a minute. GM would sell you a car that ran on pig shit if it sold.
Our goal at GM was to make the full-functioning battery electric vehicle a commercially viable business opportunity for General Motors.
GM spokesman Dave Barthmus has worked for GM for nearly 10 years.
We spent in excess of $1 billion to drive this market, to build the market. That means award-winning advertising, developing the vehicle, developing the recharging infrastructure. And in a 4-year time frame, from roughly 1996 to 2000, we were able to lease 800 EV1s.
On the 27th day of their vigil, activists finally heard from GM.
Paul Scott calls. Are you guys busy? They're calling in the cars right now. GM is loading the cars on trucks right now. We're like, what? Well, yeah, we'll drop everything and run on down there right now.
The immediate blast is going out.
Okay. Both are closed. They loaded them up. You know, tires screeching and panels cracking against each other as they shoved them onto the trucks.
Give us maybe just to the grass there if you just get out of the driveway for us so we don't have to put hands on anybody. Thank you.
On March 15, 2005, the last EV1s in the Burbank lot were taken away and destroyed.
We will not just dream about the hydrogen fueling stations. We will not just dream about the hydrogen cars. We will build it.
How far will this car ride on that amount of fuel? It gets approximately about, maybe about 125 miles. Sure.
This is the beginning of some fantastic technology, and thanks for having us out here. We're going to look at some other vehicles here in a minute, but you know, hydrogen is the wave of the future.
In addition to his role as chairman of the Air Resources Board, Alan Lloyd had another position. Just 4 months before the meeting that killed the electric car, Lloyd accepted the chairmanship of the California Fuel Cell Partnership.